It's it's definitely, I mean,
No, not at all.
yeah, and
You know, we want people to obviously make money. I mean, let's not be silly about it. We're not doing this, from a charitable point of view. I mean, we want to make money out of it, but I'm just suggesting that that's not the primary reason why we do it. There's deeper reasons, and those reasons are internal.
and how do you get to that point? How do you realize, and it is a process that I've done for myself previously, obviously, wondering,
Mm,
you said
mm,
there needs to be a strong enough why to be able to stick through the hard times, because we've
mm,
all been there in development, and anyone that's out there in the property business, every single
mm.
day you go out, it's not necessarily going to be bright and shiny. You've got to get through the hard trenches
Mm.
and everything else, and your why needs to be strong enough
Yeah,
to be
correct.
able to pull you through. So how
Mm.
do you sort of really decipher that why? Like, and I do say the first
Well,
time
sure.
it was challenging.
Yeah, sure. So, three words: for what purpose? So when you say I want to do property development, for what purpose? And then you answer that question, then you say for what purpose? For what purpose? And the idea is that you might get to your fifth or sixth for what purpose, or you could say why. It's the same but different. Want to do property development. Why is that? I want, it might give me freedom. Why is that important? You keep drilling down until you get to it. So, for example, when I first started in property development, my why was to regain happiness by spending more time with my family, because at that point in time in my life, I spent most of my life living in an aeroplane and a hotel suite. And so for me, I saw property development as a way to get me back home. Back home with my family. I've got, two teenage children, a wife, etc., and I wasn't seeing them. So that was my driver. So, when the alarm would go off for me at 4 a.m. in the morning, I'd bound out of bed. I certainly didn't always feel like it. In fact, you don't always feel like it, but I bound out of bed because that was my bigger purpose, my bigger reason for doing it, and that was to be back home with my family. So for what purpose is a really good question, Cheryl, that you can keep asking yourself, and again, keep asking it 3, 4, 5 times till you get down to that core reason as to why it's important. And look, the thing with purpose is, quite often, it's not that easy at times to find it as well, and so people can, it's not a matter of just sitting with it, asking 4 or 5 questions, and bang, I got my purpose, and off I go. It just doesn't always work that way.
Yeah.
I also encourage people to write things down. Writing, grabbing a pen, getting a piece of paper, the old-fashioned way. Pre-phones, pre-computers. And writing is a very good way to get a lot of thoughts out of your head. It helps from a creativity point of view as well. But you just want to sit with stuff. You want to be patient. I know a lot of people spruik patience, but patience applies in this example where you just want to sit with it and just slowly but surely work through why it is that you want to, get involved in whatever facet of property you want in the first place.
Yeah, and that idea, that concept of purpose, what's my purpose
Mm,
in life? Again, it's something that I sat quite a bit on at the start of the year. I do this sort of reflective thing at the start of every year, every 6 months.
mm,
My husband
mm,
will tell you, each 6 months it's a reset. What are we doing? Are we on track with, are
mm,
we doing sort of, is this my purpose in life? And
mm,
one
mm,
sort of
mm,
uh, tip I would give people is write down what you think
mm,
your purpose is, and
mm,
put it somewhere where you can see it. And every day when you
mm,
look at it, like, you really need to feel it inside as to whether it sits well with you, whether that really
mm,
is what you're doing this for, and if it's for the right reason.
mm,
And it needs to be for yourself
mm,
and not for anyone else.
mm,
And when I say not for anyone else,
mm,
from a selfish way, but at the end of the day, it needs to be something that comes
mm,
from within. And and yes, when you talk about freedom to spend time with your family, it is for them.
mm.
But I think the truth is, it's that sense of, well, I love them, and that's why I want to spend that time with them. And
100%.
so
Yeah, 100%.
yeah, and so from a
Yes.
from a business perspective, how do we
Mm,
how do we
mm.
change that personal why, or and implement that from a business sense? Are they the same, or are they two different things? Oh, what, you've got artwork.
No. So I've done some homework. So
This is what I
so no, look,
printed.
they can. Yeah, here's one I prepared earlier, right?
Yeah.
So they can be different. So this is a model that is a Japanese model. It's called Ikigai. It's spelled Ikigai. I don't know if you can see that. If
Yeah,
everyone
I
can
can
see.
see that
Um,
posted up.
and it's all about reason for being. So it's Japanese for reason for being,
Yeah.
and what it's made up of. It's made up of four intersecting circles. So one circle is what is it that you love.
Mm-hmm.
Another circle is what is it that you're good at.
Yeah.
Another circle is what does the world need. Okay, and another circle is around what it is that you can get rewarded for. And so the idea is that you might have a couple of those circles that intersect, but that's not enough. So, for example, if you're good at something and you love it, then that's your passion. Okay, but it's not necessarily your ikigai. Or if you're good at something and you get rewarded for it, but you don't love it, then that's your professional, that's your job. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so then if you get rewarded for it and you need it,
Yeah.
the world needs it, sorry, then that's a vocation. And if you love doing something and the world needs it, but you're not good at it and you don't get rewarded for it, then that's a mission. And so the idea is that yes, it's a good start to have a couple of circles that intersect,
Yeah.
but the idea is that you want to have all four intersect to find your ikigai.
Yeah.
Now, ikigai originated in Japan from the island of Okinawa, and Okinawa has the largest amount of 100-year-old
And
people per capita.
Centurions, are they called?
All right, because yeah, centurions, because they have found their purpose. They are in line and congruent with their purpose. And so what that does is it reduces stress and anxiety and all sorts of other disease, because they're living each day being happy, being truly aligned to what it is that they're on this earth to do. So it's a really great process to work your way through. And again, this is not a 5-minute process. This is a sit with this and work on it and write and write and write. So what I do with my students, I've got papers all over here, Cheryl. I've been busy with my pens and my crowns in preparation for this. What I do with my students is I line it up. Can you see this okay?
Yep, I see.
So I actually take the same headings.
Yep.
But I do it as columns, right? So I've got,
Yeah.
what are you good at? What do you love? What does the world need? And what can you get rewarded for? And I do it as columns. And so the idea of this is that you just write down, right? So you write, what are all the things that you're good at? What are the things that you love? What does the world need? And what can you get rewarded for? But here's the thing, you want to get granular with it. And what I mean by that is don't put down that I love property, right? Because property is about that wide.
Mm.
So what is it about property? What part of property do
Yeah.
you love?
Yeah.
Right? So if I take my development hat on, put my development hat on, it could be that some people love deal finding, but even deal finding is quite broad. So then what is it about the deal finding? Do you love the analysis? Do you love the dealing with agents? Do you love the negotiating? Do you love the thrill of the chase? You know what I mean? So there's really break this down to a granular level to understand what it is that you actually do love. And then the next thing is to do the same with what you're good at. So don't just sit there and go, well, I'm good at IT, for example. Well, again, IT is about that wide,
Yeah.
right? So is it coding? Is it software development? Is it help desk? Again, and clearly I'm showing that I'm not experienced at IT, right? But my point is that break it all down. What is it that you're actually that you love doing? And then the same applies to what is it that the world needs? So what do you think someone needs? Who's your avatar or your ideal customer? What do they need? Again, ask those types of questions, and then can I get rewarded for this or paid for it? Is another way to phrase that. And again, this is a very patient. As I said, writing. You don't type this. Don't put it into your phone. Grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, and write, because there's just some real magic that happens when you write. And quite often I'll say to my students that when you get a little bit of writer's block, then if you simply write the words, it might be BLAH, BLAH, right, blah, 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 you start writing that stuff out, and then all of a sudden what's going to happen is something's going to trigger, and you're going to be in flow, and you're just going to be writing all this stuff down. So that's one of the I suppose one of the key things that I focus on from just understanding what your reason for being is to drill quite deeply into Ikigai. one of the other things, Bud, is that one of the other ways to look at it. So some people may struggle with the passion side of things, which is what am I good at and what do I love? So then another way to do that is to, I don't know if you can see this, is to get a quadrant. So this is all about drilling down your passion.
Yes.
Okay, and this is to say, well, what are the things that you are good at and you love? Right, so you want to, again, you do this in 4 columns. I've just done this as a quadrant.
Yeah.
But then you want to write down what are the things that you're good at and you don't love.
Yes.
Right, so what are the things you're good at and you don't love? Then down here, you write down what are the things that you're not good at, but you love doing. And then what are the things that you're not good at and you don't love doing? And you want to write these things down. And again, this is all about just helping you get a lot clearer and a lot closer to the right result or the right outcome for yourself. Here's the key thing here. This column over here, I think I've got the right column. Yeah, I do. So this column over here is typically what we do from an urgent point of view, right? So when things are urgent, right, we do things that we're good at and we don't love, or things we're not good at and we don't love. That's what we do when it's urgent. Here's the key. To shift your life forward, you want to do things that are important. Does that make sense? Things that are important to you, and that's where you're doing things that you are good at and you love doing, or you're not good at but you love doing. This column over here is where you want to be focusing. Obviously, you want to get up into this top left-hand column, but certainly on these 2 boxes is the side of things where it's all about the importance as opposed to the other side, which is urgent. There's a very, very clear distinction between the two.